This is Alex. My partner wants kids, and I don't know if I ever will. We've been together for years, and everything else works. We communicate well, we support each other, and we've built a life that feels stable and loving. This is the one thing we can't seem to meet in the middle on. I keep waiting for certainty to arrive, for some internal switch to flip, but it hasn't. When we talk about the future, I feel pressure instead of excitement. I can picture a good life without children, but I can't picture one where I have them just to keep someone I love. What makes this harder is the guilt. My partner isn't demanding or cruel, they're just honest about what they want. I feel like I'm the one holding everything up, the one who might eventually force an impossible choice. I don't want to waste their time, and I don't want to make a decision out of fear of loss. But staying in this limbo feels unfair to both of us. My question is, how do you know when uncertainty means you should let someone go instead of hoping you'll change? This is a difficult one. It's a difficult situation to be in. But me and my girlfriend talk about this situation, and we don't necessarily understand how this happens. One of the first couple of conversations we had at the start of our relationship was if we want kids or not. Because I feel like it's a pretty big decision. But we've also talked about, how do you know? Like, how do you truly know if you want kids? I think for me, it's just always seemed like there's no life where I don't have kids. It's weird. Like, I've just sort of seen it as a given. And I think my girlfriend has in a way. But we had that conversation because we talked about that I wouldn't want to be in the situation you're in. Not to judge too much, but I wouldn't want to be in the position where I absolutely love someone and it's perfect, and this one little thing changes it. Now, one thing I can't relate in is not wanting a kid. That's just how I see life, like I just said. And the answer I would give here is, you've just got to be honest. As long as that other person knows that you don't want kids, maybe you just got to sit down and have that conversation. And for you personally, figure out why you don't want kids. I think that's important. From the perspective of someone who wants kids, I don't see the negative. Is the negative the responsibility, the money, the time? If so, get over it. Because I see the reward. I think that's why I want kids, and none of that pressure and responsibility and money gets in the way for me, because I see it as worth it, because I see myself as worth it, and I see my siblings as worth it, and I see a lot of people around me as worth that time, that difficult time. And do you have this idea about life where you're going through it, trying to go through the easiest path? You don't want a life full of responsibility. You want life with more money. You want the easy way of just looking after you and your girlfriend. Is that what it is? Or is it something deeper? Maybe your parents haven't set a good example of what parenting is. Maybe it's the fear that you're not going to be good enough as a parent. And that's why I think it is difficult to know what you want. Like, I can sit here and say, yeah, I'll have kids. Yeah, I want kids. But I don't truly know what it's going to take. And I think you can take that in both ways. If that's your fear, if you've got a fear over having kids, you'd have to explain to me more about why you don't want kids, if you even know. Also, how old are you? Is that a factor? Because you could be too young to even realise what you want. And I think if you don't know, I don't think that it's an issue in your relationship. You're not leading someone on if you're honest. If you say, listen, I don't know why I don't want kids. I don't know what's happening in my head. I don't know if one day I will want kids. As long as you're honest, I mean, you can't do more than that when it comes to your relationship, and it comes to the guilt that maybe one day this will be over. And I think on that one day it's going to be over, that doesn't mean, in a weird sense, I don't think that means that you end your relationship. If you're truly honest, that's the foundation here, which sounds like you are to each other. If you're truly honest and you communicate and you say how you're thinking, I don't think the relationship needs to end until the relationship needs to end. Until that one important moment comes, where that time comes and she says, listen, I want kids. Now, it's weird to say that, because people are going to imagine it as, I've wasted 4, 5, 6, 7 years of my life with this person. And this is another moment where you do just have to live where you are. Not focus on the future too much. You know, this is one side of the coin where I say, listen, live your life. Live in these happy times. Depending on the age that you're at, and when I say age that you're at, I mean, what age does your partner want kids? When do they think it's time? If they think it's time now, well, you got to sit down and have this conversation and really, really talk to each other about it. But if, you know me, you're 20 years old or 25 years old, maybe it's not that time yet to be thinking too deeply about this, because you might not know. But, you know, the homework I'd give you, like I said, is really delve into why you don't want kids. And because if you don't know why, delve into that and figure it out, because that's important. Because it could just be an insecurity, an issue that you're dealing with, and you wouldn't want that to stop you from the joy and the pleasures and the experiences you could have in life. You don't want something to hold you back, rather than contemplating, is it really you? I think that's the difference here. No one wants something where we're like, oh, this thing inside me is stopping me from experiencing life truly and to moving forward and to progressing. But if it's just a simple answer of, I don't want that life, that's not the life I want, that's not the experience I want, this over here is where I want to progress and step out my comfort zone and go. And that's it. But, I mean, speak to parents. Speak to your own parents and have a look and say, what's it like? Did you ever think this? I mean, a lot of the time that I say this, but we relate more to our parents than we know. Did your parents ever wonder and think, no, I don't want kids either? Did they get over it? Because this is something you can't run away from. I know I've just said, you know, it's maybe not too deep now, and maybe enjoy the relationship that you're in, and when that day comes, but it's also not something you can run away from. That's where, when I talk about the importance of being true and being honest, because if you know why you don't want kids and you haven't communicated that, now that's the issue. And if you need help figuring it out, I mean, you've got professionals out there, you've got therapists out there that maybe can delve into that idea of why don't you want kids. That's how I would see it, because having kids must be a rewarding thing, must be worth it, because we all do it. That's how we exist. That's how we continue in life. So, in a sense, I see at a foundational level that it's not really an option that we shouldn't have kids. Life shows that if all this wants to carry on, we've got to reproduce. In a basic sense, that's how I kind of push it in my mind. It's like you almost push your emotions to the side and say, listen, we got to all of us have to do this. And I think a lot of the times it is because people are scared. Because it makes you uncomfortable that you are now responsible for someone. That's a lot of pressure. I think it's because it's coming from someone who knows they want kids that I don't really see why there is any other option other than the pleasures of life. But I think you're scared. I think sometimes people don't see the other side of life where there is this pleasure. And then most of the time I wonder if it's because they've not had a good experience with their own parents, which you've got to get over, you've got to work through, you've got to figure that out. But it sounds like you're halfway there. It sounds like because you communicate well, you're not leading anyone on. Don't get me wrong, one day there could be hurt, there could be pain. But almost in a sense, that's not on you if the other person knows that you don't want this outcome. The other person either has to adjust and let go of their ideas, or they've got to be true to themselves and say, listen, this is what I want. And unfortunately, we are going to have to break up. And a lot of us can stay in relationships because we're trying to delay the pain of the future. The feeling of loneliness, you think you've got something now, but all you're doing is delaying. One, you're delaying your pleasure. Two, you're delaying your pain. And by one, I mean you're delaying your pleasure because you're missing the opportunity to find someone who's true for you. Someone who matches what you want by staying in this position that isn't for you. Don't get me wrong. Any decision, I think with this, any decision that's made is fine. As long as there's honesty and truth, and you are working to figure stuff out within yourself. There's the intention. But also don't get caught up in trying to delay this tough moment. If you're adamant, if you're sure, if you've worked through it and you know you want something different than your partner, what are you running away from? I think that's the question I'm always asking. What are you running away from, and how can you attack it? Because people break up, things end, and they don't always have to end on a bad note. They can end because you both want different paths in life. And there's a time, like I said, don't forget to experience the relationship that you're in. If you're deep into it, then maybe it's time. And don't be scared of what that life might actually give you. Stepping away from something that you choose, there's boldness, there's confidence in that. There's being right in that decision that you are going for what you want in life. Because that's difficult to do. And you're strong-willed if you can step out of a comfortable situation and be honest and be truthful. It's fucking hard. And to deal with that guilt of hurting someone because you want things that are different, but to be harsh here, you've not done the right thing at the start of this relationship and talked about the future that you want. And if you have, someone here is holding on to something to feel comfortable, to get that pleasure. And it's not abnormal. You're not weird. You're not wrong for doing that. You've just succumbed to your emotions, to that easy, quick pleasure. And it feels a bit wrong to say when I say that. Don't get it twisted. I see the harshness in it, but life is harsh. And that harshness gets pleasure. That harshness gets the life that you truly want if you make the correct decisions and we don't fall into the trap of not going for the true life that we want. Don't live a life of quiet desperation. Know that you can get the life that you want. To believe in that, to believe in yourself is important. You don't need to settle if that's what it feels like. But it's all important that you do still have to put the work in to figure out, is this truly what I want? Or is it an insecurity that's covering what I truly want? And that's why you've got to do the work and figure out who you are. Figure out if something's holding you back. And that's not the case for everyone. But it could be for you. But like I said, honesty and truth. If you're just truthful and honest with how you're thinking, even if you don't know how you're thinking, that's a good enough answer. And let the other person decide, and don't really falter, don't adjust to be someone that you're not. Just to hold on to that pleasure, that feeling of comfort, the feeling of not being lonely. You can't hold on to that. You can't be desperate. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one because you love someone and you don't want to let them go. But at some point, you've got to decide what you truly want and go through that pain of figuring out who you are, or go through the pain of hurting someone else by leading them on or breaking up this situation. Either way, it's going to be difficult, but there is going to be a silver lining at the end of it all. You will figure it out, and it will all be okay for both of you. Whichever decision is made, it will make you better people. I think that's what you've got to remember, as long as you have good intentions with it. But yeah, good luck. Peace.